Say, do you like your videos straight and to the point? Then this video's not for you. It's all over the place. My wife is kinda crazy, and she said I could say that. Enjoy!
Hey everybody, what's going on? Hope you're having a safe and awesome week. We've got a husband and wife dynamic duo review for you today. We just finished Umbrella Academy Season 2. Oh my goodness.
I have emotions and feelings, and this is going to be a very spoiler-rich video.
Yes, very much.
So anybody who hasn't watched the first season or doesn't want to know about the second season,
what are you waiting for? Get on Netflix and watch it now.
bye.
Get out of here.
Oh my gosh, I loved it.
Give me your overall synopsis of the season. Like your overall feeling of this season.
Wow.
Better,
Oh snap!
Better than the first, or
Okay, so parts of it were better than the first. The first season I felt like had a different kind of like storyline to it, and it did give us a full story. But in the second one, they really ironed out details to give us a really richer, fuller story this time. And I really enjoyed it because in the first season we did get a full story, but it was very focused on
origin.
Yeah, we did get a full origin story of each of the characters, but it really focused on the sort of darker parts of it, and instead of how they're all brothers and sisters, they had to have moments of... No, I take that back. Brothers and sisters can have bad paths.
Yeah, they can.
But in the second one, we got to really see the relationship between some of the characters.
They feel more loving to me. Like you could tell they actually cared about each other. I mean, they showed that a little bit in the first season, of course.
Yeah.
But for some reason
and I think I know why, and I think it's from personal experience actually, is they had, so it's over a 3-year period where they just get thrown into the early 60s, and they had that time where they were away from each other and didn't have the opportunity to speak. So they really thought each other were dead. So that really does give this feeling of, damn, I should have done better by then. Yeah. So, and I feel like maybe that's why they were more loving towards each other. And then Vanya losing her memory really gave her the opportunity to learn about her brothers and sister better. And then having her memory add on to that, she got to see how hard they tried to keep her safe once they found out she didn't know anything. They were like, okay, well, cool, yeah, we escaped the apocalypse. And she was like, there's more to that. Like, no, the moon blew up. Psh,
yeah.
Pish posh, that's it.
Yeah, it's one of those absence makes the heart grow fonder kind of things. Yeah, I had the same feeling, that part in the 60s. So what happens is the finale of the first season, number 5, or the boy, as he's also known as, just whatever his power really is.
It's jumping.
Jumping through space and time and all that. He miscalculated a little bit, kind of like his very first jump in the first season.
Yeah.
He miscalculated, so they're dropped off in the 60s, but
that's one of them, their hands.
One of them is dropped off in 1960, another one's 61, 62, 63,
yeah,
stuff
so
like that.
they're spread out. Like, some of them have been there. Like, Allison had been there for two years.
2 years, yeah.
Klaus and Ben had been there for 3 years. And then Vanya, I think, was, 6 months?
Something like that.
And then I think Luther, number 1, he had been there almost a year, if not a year. So they had, like, Allison had 3 years to kind of, like, for the first year she was there, she couldn't even talk.
Right.
And so she had time to heal on herself and, build herself, and then kind of deal with what she thought was the death of all of her brothers and one sister.
Yeah.
And then, when they see each other, it's just kind of one of those, oh my God, you're not dead.
Yes.
And I know that feeling.
And Allison, she ends up getting married. Yeah. So when her brothers start showing up,
her husband's like,
That's the big when he sees Luther first. Is it Luther? No.
Yeah, no.
Is it Luther or is it
He
Klaus?
met Klaus in jail, but didn't know that was Allison's brother. So
Klaus is a cult leader.
Yeah.
That's the funniest.
And it's funny. He does quotes from like songs.
He did Waterfalls. Waterfalls by TLC. He's a cult leader. It's awesome.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
Yeah.
Stick to the lakes and the rivers you're used to.
Yes. That was his parting words when he tried. He keeps trying to escape this cult.
Yeah.
The one he created.
By accident.
And, Ben's with him the whole time. And Ben falls in love with somebody. And later on in the season, Ben finds out he could actually possess Klaus.
Oh, God, that puke scene.
So that's... Yeah. But anyway, so Allison's married.
Yeah.
And she doesn't really talk about her family or a whole lot. She tells him something along the lines of, "I have family up north."
Yeah.
And here he comes, and here's all these three white boys, and he ends up seeing at least
only Luther and Klaus are white.
5?
He's Puerto Rican.
5 looks like a white kid to me. You're thinking? I think Diego
is
Hispanic.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Well,
5,
I think the actor is at least.
Yeah, 5.
We'll have to fact check that.
5 looks like a white kid to me. So the first time he sees.
Wait, did Ray ever meet 5?
I thought he did. I could be completely wrong, but
No. They did. He met him when he showed up from the commission.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was like, "Okay, no, that was Klaus who was like, are we burning? Or are we burying? Let's do this." Klaus. Fucking fabulous. I love that actor.
Yeah.
Robert Sheehan is an amazing actor, and his American accent was much better this time around. I feel like he really worked on it. I mean, in the first one, it was still really good, but I think it was also because most of the time he was drunk. Not the actor, but the character. The character, he was either on some sort of drugs or some, drunk, and he did it great. And trying to slur your words, sometimes accents can come through. But this time around, I think because he was mostly sober, he only got really drunk towards the end. I think the last 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the first time he sees Luther, I guess he doesn't know about Klaus yet, because he says something to her along the lines of, "I came back to our home and just saw the biggest white boy I've ever seen, and you're telling me he's your brother." So, I mean, that was funny. Like I said, Klaus ends up, he and Ben, unfortunately, because Ben's stuck with them.
Yeah.
They form a cult.
Poor Ben. He was just there trying to help Klaus. And
yeah. Luther becomes kind of like a strong arm, a side guy to...
the guy who killed Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah.
What was it?
Jack. It was
Jack?
Jack Ruby? It was Jack something.
It was Jack something. But in history, he is the guy that went out and killed Lee Harvey Oswald. Yeah. That's what they did. Because they knew the history, they kind of aligned themselves a little bit where they could work out in the time.
Yeah, because Diego's trying to actually save JFK, and he ends up getting committed to an insane asylum.
His hair.
Where he meets Lily.
Oh.
And you later find out that Lily is the adopted daughter of the handler, who's the main protagonist.
Yeah.
No, not protagonist. Antagonist.
Yes, that's
Pro is good and is bad. Sometimes I get those mixed up. But she's really kick-ass. I really liked her.
I love her. She's actually, I plan on cosplaying her in the future.
Yeah.
I can't wait. And her different red shoes. Her outfits were fabulous. Even Jay said one of her outfits, he was like, she looks
she looked fierce. She's awesome.
And then
we met her in the first season.
Yeah.
Lily is a new character, but Lily's awesome too.
She's not from the comics either.
No, I don't remember.
She's not in the comics.
This is one of those instances where, just like with the boys, how they strayed enough away from it, but still stayed pretty good to the source material, pretty close to the source material. So it's all right. Like, it's not so different to where you're like, meh. But the addition of her,
there are some major differences. They work, but it's huge. It's huge
right, but
differences.
It's not so bad to where you don't know that you're watching the Umbrella Academy.
Yeah. So how I feel versus the comics versus the show was they kept the characters, how the characters would act and feel. But this is a whole new storyline. Not all the characters went back to the 60s in the comics. They kind of stayed home and helped Vanya after being shot in the eye.
Because isn't this one based off of Dallas, was that the first or the second one?
That's the okay, so it's kind of the second volume, but it's more of a standalone. You can read it as the second one. It gives you little hints that help you in the third one, but it's mostly 5 story about how he got stuck in the future, and then his time with the commission, and then he was actually the person who killed JFK. And so that's really what the second volume was about.
Oh, okay. So
none of the other characters have been in the 60s or time traveled at all in the comics, as far as I remember. It's been a year or two since I've read them, but none of them went back in time in the comics. Only 5 had. And he was a child when he shot JFK. Which I thought was also interesting the way they portrayed it. How if JFK lived, it was the end of the world. Another apocalypse. And poor Vanya.
Because once again,
Vanya can't catch a break.
Once again, so Vanya, they think she's a Russian, the FBI thinks she's a Russian spy, like a plant. So they start torturing her. Well, of course, her powers kick in.
Yeah.
And in Diego ends up going to the commission after he has found out Lila is a bad guy. Lila she loves him and wants him to join the commission. Well, he ends up sneaking out and going to what's called the Infinity Switchboard or something like that.
I think it's the Infinite
Switchboard.
Yeah.
And has my other favorite character, who's such a side character. His name is Herb.
I love Herb.
Herb is awesome.
He's a new character that wasn't in the comics either.
Gets Herb to show him what happens, and what it is JFK doesn't get shot because when Vanya gets tortured and sets her powers off, she ends up blowing up in the federal building she's in, and it scares the cavalcade away. So
and then nukes start flying because they think it was Russia attacking.
They think it was Russia, so everybody. So that's They can't catch a break. The apocalypse follows them no matter what time they're in.
And it's not fair. She can't catch a break. This is a character you really feel for because in the first season, she kind of fell in love with a serial killer who was after her because of stuff and things, and it was bad. But they fell in love, and then she found out later that he was a serial killer, and then she came into her full powers after thinking her entire life she didn't have powers, and she just loses in all chaos, and Ellen Page did an amazing job with this character. And then in the very first 10 or 15 minutes of the first episode of season 2, she drops out of the wormhole thing and gets hit by a car.
It's like a Back to the Future moment to me.
And she forgets everything.
Yeah, she gets
amnesia. And they go out to the farm, and the only thing she remembers is her name, Vanya. And that's...
Well, see, at first they're calling her something else. She doesn't learn her name's Vanya until Luther sees her.
Yeah.
But she's living with this family who has, at the time, they don't know what it is, but their son is autistic. And Vanya
nonverbal autistic,
yeah. Vanya seems to be the only person who can really calm him down. The kid loves her.
Yeah.
There's a cool part that I called when I saw it happen. Harlan is the little boy's name. He gets upset about something, runs out, and ends up falling into a pond. Vanya uses her powers to lift all the water out of this pond or lake or whatever it is. And when she's giving him mouth to mouth, you kind of see this weird, you see like her powers kind of come out. And
not all of her powers. It's like a little sparkle comes down.
Just it's enough for you to be like, ooh, okay, something's gonna happen with this.
Ooh, that's a thing.
And later on, it does. When Vanya's being tortured, Harlan feels it. Yeah, Harlan feels it, and he starts freaking out.
And then when she mentally shuts down inside of herself, he's mentally shut down inside himself, and he finally says the first words he's ever said, and it's Vanya. Yeah. And his dad freaks out and is like, "Okay, we need to go take him away." And the dad, while he is a dick...
He is a dick.
He's a huge dick. You can tell he loves his son.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's a real dick.
Yeah, he really is. Like,
he's a drunk. And
they skip a lot of the tropes, though, Because there's times where he's alone with Vanya and you think, oh, it's going to get kind of rapey or something. That never happens.
Yeah, he just gets creepy.
He does threaten her because his wife and Vanya are secret lovers. So he does threaten her. You don't see him ever hit the wife or the son or anything like that. He's just he's 60s mentality. She's you're a lesbian, it's unnatural, it's sick.
Which is not. It's not a sickness.
No, nobody's saying anything like that. But for the time that it was, that was the thinking. But so when he goes to take the son away, he's like, we got to get him help.
We can't.
The wife, whose name is Sissy, pulls a gun on him.
Oh yeah, she's a badass.
Yeah.
She's a badass country girl because the first time Luther showed up, she also pulled a shotgun on him, and it's just.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, during this altercation, the husband's name is Carl. There we go. Carl and Sissy and Harlan. Carl goes to grab the gun from her, and it fires. And the first thing you think is, oh my God, it's going to shoot Harlan.
That was Harlan.
Harlan, I said.
Oh, okay.
It's going to shoot Harlan, and his powers kick in, and he deflects the bullet, but it goes right through Carl's chest.
Oh yeah,
like blows a hole in his chest.
Yeah. And you can tell all of them are super upset. Like, that was completely accidental on all parts. And it is just...
Yeah.
That was hard. Because that's when... I thought it was Harlow.
No, it was Harlan.
Harlan has a complete breakdown. And you can really see... Even just a touch of Vanya's powers can make somebody just...
Now,
crazy.
we are kind of skipping all over the story.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to give spoilers, but we don't want to give the whole thing away. But I will say this. My favorite quote that happened in this show, it was one of those, when I heard it, I laughed out loud. I thought it was great. I won't tell you what the quote actually is, but it's, episode 6 or 7, when Lily, the handler, and Diego are in her office.
Well, that sounds ridiculous, but keep going.
Yeah. There you go. You get half the quote.
Yeah.
But it's the part that comes before it is pretty hilarious. But overall, my thoughts on this season, and especially how it ends. It ends with you finding out that Sir Reginald, didn't die in this timeline when they finally get back to their timeline.
Nope.
And Ben is still alive. And Ben's kind of a douche.
He's a douchebag.
He's a super nice guy.
He's a jerk. And he sacrificed himself for Vanya, and everybody had got to see him. Okay, so when he possessed Klaus, everybody got to be there, like, almost like they got to get hugs and say, oh, snap, you're still here. And then he sacrifices himself to save Vanya while she's being tortured, and she shuts down herself before she blows up. So he goes in and gets her out, and she comes out and is like, okay, I love my family. Let's do this. Thank you for trying to save me. Yay! And then it feels almost like a slap in the face for a sacrifice like that, and then to come back in the timeline and now he's a douchebag?
Sacrifice.
The sacrifice. What?
You said sacrifice.
I can't say it. I'm sorry.
That's okay. But anyway, and you learn that it's no longer the Umbrella Academy, it's the Sparrow Academy.
Which is weird because back in the day it was still DS Umbrella. So, like, what made him change his mind about umbrellas? Was it because they showed off he was a thingy?
Maybe.
And he went all nom.
Yeah, I'm still wanting to know what that was all about. But
well, it was from the Dark Side of the Moon, because that's what they were talking about, right?
But overall, this season was great.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing about these shows,
there's only 10 episodes.
I love the fact that you can binge watch something like this. I love being able to binge watch. The only problem with binge watching, and I said binge watch, the only problem with binge watching is you binge through the whole thing.
And now you have to wait 2
years. And then you have to wait 2 or 3 years to get another season.
10 episodes is all you can give me?
Well, 10 really tight episodes to me is
yeah.
better than 13 with 2 or 3 filler episodes, you know?
Yeah. But then again, in season 1, one of the filler episodes was Klaus going back to Vietnam War. That was technically a filler episode.
Him and Dave.
It was still one of my favorite episodes.
Him and Dave, that's a love story for the ages.
That broke my heart this season. So he gets to see Dave again in the second season, but I'm going to let you guys watch it because I can't do that again.
I can't live through that heartbreak again.
I can't do the crying anymore.
I really love this season. I hope we get more. I know recently Netflix has been doing 3 or 4 seasons of things and then they cancel.
If you cancel this, I'm going to riot and I'm going to burn down your house.
If you cancel it, somebody else needs to pick this up because you could go on forever with this show.
Burn down your house.
Arson. Anyway, sweetheart, what was your thoughts of this entire season?
Now I'm just mad. 10 episodes? Like, I need more. Okay, I am a huge fan of the comics. I've read them several times. Gerald Way and Gabrielle,
Is it Ba?
Is it Ba or Bay? Correct us if we're wrong, we're super sorry.
Yeah.
Did such an amazing job really building up the comics. It was through Dark Horse. And I enjoy the characters that were given to us, even with the tweaks that were done, because, you know, Klaus wasn't really like that in the comics, but the way they do it, it works perfectly.
Robert Sheehan's amazing.
Oh, Robert Sheehan's amazing. Luther's head was cut off his body and put on an actual gorilla's body, but the way they did it in the show, it really is look what you did to me! Is really, yeah. And then I love the way they've kind of bent each of the characters a little bit. And also, I can't remember the name of the actor who plays Five. It's killing me.
Adrian Gallagher, I think.
He's amazing.
Yeah,
like,
he's great. Absolutely
amazing. He has spent both seasons in the same clothes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, if I went back in time, he's a 70-something-year-old dude stuck in a 13 or 14-year-old's body.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what?
Yeah.
What? Oh, and the old guy they got to play Older Five was perfect. He was perfect too, especially with the homicidal rage. That was one of my favorite scenes of the whole show. They just look at each other and like, do you want this one? Oh, nah, you take it. He swings back his foot, hits Luther, and Luther goes down. You know, gentlemen, exactly where he hit him.
He got kicked in the Jews.
Always funny. And then they just start this epic fight where it's them flashing, just like he gets hit here and then they flash and he's getting kicked and this and that. And then Luther just takes the gun and is like, stop it! That's enough! He goes full Big Brother mode. And it's hysterical. It's my favorite scene of the entire show. And it's right as they were trying, at the same time, older, well, technically younger, but...
So your thoughts on the season? It was great.
It was great. It was
Okay.
great. Shoot JFK. It's a fixed timeline, I'm sorry. It's a fixed time point. Like,
yeah, that's the only thing I really felt bad about was Diego
tried
really,
so hard.
like, his main goal was to save the president, and he ends up not doing it. It happens anyway. You feel bad for him.
He can't do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, nuclear holocaust.
Exactly.
Just death. Oh, in the first 5 minutes, that's what happens too, is Five falls down into all hell breaking loose, and then seeing them all fight. That was one of my favorite lines too by Diego. He's like, Five, you son of a bitch, where you been?
Yeah.
And then Klaus is just like, and all the dead soldiers. So
See, that's the only thing about them fixing that. That's, I guess that would be my one complaint, because, you know, no season of anything is really perfect. But my one complaint is they show that Klaus has better control of his power in that scene.
it's because he was sober.
Yeah, but then they don't show you, because that timeline technically didn't happen.
Never happened.
That part doesn't happen.
Yeah. That was my one complaint is Klaus lost control of his powers again. Drugs are bad.
Yeah.
Drink in moderation.
I don't know, that scene was pretty funny when he goes into the... I can't remember the song. The music for this
Oh
season
yeah,
is
the
spot
covers and I had so much fun. I actually play the soundtrack at work and people are like, what are you listening to? Because it's a combination of like 50s music, 60s music, now music. Like it's
on. Lot of covers of popular songs
Yeah.
that sound great. But overall, we love this season.
love the show.
Love the show. If you have not watched this show, again, why are you watching the video? Thank you for watching, though. But stop what you're doing right now. Go watch the show.
Just stop the video. Go watch it.
Go watch it. Come back.
I'll wait.
We're almost done anyway.
I'm patient.
So you pretty much just watch this whole video.
All the spoilers. Well,
almost all the spoilers. we leave,
there's a couple.
Yeah, we left some important stuff in. Wait till you meet AJ.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
One of the most badass scenes you're gonna see is 5 going to 1983, 82.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll leave it at that. But anyway.
Oh, and then their friend Elliot.
Yes.
I loved Elliot.
Anyway.
He's just like me.
Yes. That's going to do it for this special husband and wife edition of Dynamic Duo Reviews a la Triangle of Truth. If you haven't watched this season or last season or the show in general, watch it. I have a feeling that you're really going to love it.
Definitely pick up the comics whenever you can.
Yes.
They can be found almost in all local comic book stores. I know my store definitely stocked up on it a while back.
Now, if you have watched this season and the show, let us know down in the comments what you think about it. What are some of your pros and cons of it? Are you excited for the 3rd season? Do you want them to go as far as they can go with this?
Are you going to burn down houses with me if they cancel?
Arson is bad too, folks.
I need to know.
Arson is bad too. But don't cancel the show, guys.
I will riot. Anybody else want to riot with me if they cancel the show? Hit me down below. We love you guys. Bye.
Later, tots.